Really, really appreciate it. Hello, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Shawnee Boston. I head up our product development operations at MailChimp, and I am currently located in Atlanta, where Michaela is going to school. I'm super excited to be here today. It's such a pleasure. I think we're all really thrilled to hear more about the story behind Me and the Bees Lemonade. I think Michaela is actually our youngest entrepreneur that we've ever featured in a pop up since she's only 17 years old. And like Wiley mentioned, we're sad that she can't be here today because she's at college right now at Emory University, but we were so excited for her to kind of get going in that next chapter of her life. Um, Instead of that, we're super excited that Theo can join us. So, Theo, we'd love for you to take some time to just introduce yourself. Tell us the story about how Michaela started Me and the Bees, and how her evolution has or how she has evolved over time.
I don't know. I've got to catch my breath now. Wiley just mentioned getting old, and I'm thinking, man, I was looking at some of the videos of Michaela. I'm thinking, wow, I remember Shark Tank episodes, and just her being. She was 9 years old when she was on that show, and we just dropped her off at school. So that's pretty impressive. Well, first, thanks for inviting me. I'm honored to be able to stand in and fill in for her, so I get to tell her how much fun I'm having and what you missed. But it's been it's been great. We've been doing this now with her
Yeah.
for so many years. It's hard to imagine. She started when she was 4.5, and it was great. Just great starting out with her in the garden. Certainly getting stung by bees wasn't a high point, but what she was able to do following that was I think pretty impressive. We're all very proud of her. So what I do in the beginning was really helped her to formulate the product. Even at the stand when it was still in cups and pitchers, we were able to leverage a family recipe. Um, Oddly enough, it's from my grandmother, her great grandmother, and it's nice to see that legacy component, and nice to see her building on that and honoring her grandmother, and that just helped inspire us to really do a good job and really work with her. So it was a great beginning. It was a lot of fun. I just actually told someone the other day we started a project that grew into a business,
Yeah.
and it's been a really fun ride.
Oh, that's fantastic. I want to kind of go into the family business because I think that's super rare. Talk to me a little bit more about that. I know you got your roots, started from your grandmother, but talk to me about how that impacts how you think about growing the business. And you talked about legacy.
Yeah,
Um,
well, it's pretty interesting. It's interesting what you bring to business, or I think what we bring to it. So we've been working, my wife and I. She handles marketing and PR. I handle operations and finance, and we've got 30, 20 plus, 30 plus, almost 30 years of experience in business, typically working for high tech companies, technology companies at fairly high levels, but we've done it in our respective fields for so many years. And one of the things that we didn't see early on in our careers and didn't really think about, it just wasn't something that was taught, was being an entrepreneur. I think all of us had entrepreneurial skills.
yeah.
I think we had them without knowing we had them, but no one ever really taught us to be entrepreneurs. And we really didn't think about that until much later. So, as a family business owner, one of the things that we wanted to teach our kids, even before we got started in the business, was to think and to really develop those entrepreneurial skills.
Mhm.
So, having a family run business is great because we really don't separate family from the business. All the things that we want to do as a family, we really bring to the business, teaching them to take risks, take calculated risks, to be problem solvers, to be creative, all of those things that really help you in business, whether you're an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur. We wanted to do that with our kids early on, even with the lemonade stand. She
Yeah.
found a problem, she had an idea to help solve that problem, and we executed on that. And
Yeah.
what we didn't know, we learned along the way. And those are really the same things we do every day in business. Find a problem or find an area where we can improve business, and we work on that. One of the things I like about uh, running a family run business is all of those things that we like to teach. I mean, it's all about teachable moments with kids, with
Yeah.
family, with friends, all about teachable moments, but they get a chance to see that they don't they don't have to stop doing those things. They don't have to check those things at the door when they go into business. They can be themselves.
Yeah, bring their full
And
self.
exactly, they can be themselves at work. And I think that's the best part of going to work, but the best part of being a part of a team and part of a community is that you bring yourself.
Yeah. Theo,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. I agree. I think that you have wise words for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Mm,
Um, I think I want to pivot us a little bit and talk a little bit. You talked about how right now you're solving customer problems, right? And
mm.
the environment that you're working in is unprecedented, right? We have the pandemic, we have inflation. There are a lot of things happening right now. How have you used that nimbleness in terms of how you think about the business to address some of these, insurmountable challenges that you've been facing, especially around the pandemic? How have you all adapted to that?
You know, I don't know that is as much of our adapting to it
Yeah,
as navigating through it, right?
yeah,
We, again, we bring those things to the business that we want to apply each and every day. First and foremost, remaining customer focused. So
yeah,
even through the pandemic, it was who are our customers? What are the problems they're facing? But more importantly, especially with the pandemic, and one of the things I'm most proud of is we thought about what are the problems customers are going to face.
yeah,
And we knew that customers were going to face, and they're continuing to face challenges from a logistics standpoint, from a supply
yeah,
chain standpoint. Those are some of the big things, some of the big challenges that we had to face. So how we navigate through this time is not abandoning that thought, maintaining that thought, but really thinking about and gaming out what are the things that customers are going to have to deal with, and how do we help make the buy process easier for them, and how do we ensure that we maintain good relationships with retailers. And part of what we did
hmm,
specifically for the pandemic, and that we're continuing to do now, but one of the things we did was we forward stock product. We knew, and I'm really proud of the team. We knew that there were going to be challenges with logistics and freight,
hmm,
so we did a lot of production in advance. We took the risk, right, as entrepreneurs do, being nimble,
yeah,
and put a lot of product in our warehouses and ahead of some of these shortfalls. And what that did for us, that allowed us to punch, above our weight class. When retailers couldn't get product from larger companies,
yeah,
we were able to raise our hand and say, well, we've got product.
yeah,
And we were able to get that product on the shelves. And I think once they saw that we were actually um, bigger,
yeah,
probably than perhaps a revenue line or a staff level might suggest,
yeah.
and they said, man, we really need to deepen our relationship with these folks because they're the ones who are supporting us through this pandemic, and they're continuing to do so today.
I love that too. That's fantastic. That's yeah. I mean, that's a unique and amazing story in terms of how you all have adjusted.
Yeah.
I do want to take a little bit of time. Michaela is an inspiration in so many ways. Not just what she started and led, but even just the idea of she's going to school now, right? So I know you mentioned earlier a family business. How is she going to balance the complexity of continuing to be a part of this journey while also embarking on her own journey? How do you think about managing that?
Yeah, well, that was one of our focuses early on was we wanted to make sure that she had a balance, right? Because as the business grew, especially after we appeared on Shark Tank, and she does so many appearances and talks, and she does a lot of traveling, we didn't want her to lose those opportunities that most of us had at 13 and 14 and 15
Yeah, yeah,
to be 13 and 14 and 15 and to make those mistakes. So that's always in the back of our minds. And one of the ways that we did it then, and one of the ways that we're continuing to do it now, is to remind her, look, you got a strong hive, and you aren't doing all of this yourself. You have a great team working with you, and that tends to reduce some of the pressure. I mean,
yeah,
at that age, especially, tends to reduce some of the pressure, and she understands that you've got to be able to delegate, and
mhm,
you've got to trust your team members,
yeah,
and your team members have to execute. And what she does is we manage the execution of the teammate. And because she's developed a strong team, everybody wants to see her succeed, wants to see the business succeed. And we just constantly remind her, you go focus, you go out into the wilderness on your camping trip, we've got your back, right?
oh,
There's
I
always help at the high. That's what we say.
I love that. I like the hive. I want to be a part of the hive,
Yeah,
Theo.
come on, come on. We'll send you a T-shirt and everything.
All right, I'm ready. I love it. I love it. Well, it wouldn't be this opportunity if we didn't take the moment to talk about our products,
Yeah.
specifically about QuickBooks and even Mailchimp. Um, I would love to hear you talk about, from the QuickBooks perspective, what products do you use that help you run your business on an end-to-end basis?
Um, QuickBooks Online and Mailchimp. Yeah, we're using those two quite a bit. And
Okay.
what's interesting is we started with QuickBooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started with QuickBooks. I remembered using it personally years ago,
Hmm.
just in home finance. So when we
Yeah.
started in business, that was the first thing we did.
Yeah.
First thing we set up,
You have like
obviously,
a disc, or were you?
it might have been that floppy. I don't know. I might have,
Yeah.
I'm old enough, had to stick it in that drive, and it
Yeah.
wasn't the big floppy though. It might have been the little floppy, the little,
Okay.
3+ inch floppy. But no, we went to QuickBooks Online, and we got set up. She started, like I said, 2009. We went to our first store, pizza shop here locally, and we figured, okay, we've got to step up the ledger system, and let's get
Yeah.
some IT tools and bring those to bear. And we did QuickBooks Online, and we've been with QuickBooks ever since.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I sit and think now, I didn't realize it, but you're doing, tens and twenties and $30 a month with a little lemonade stand, and now we're
Yeah.
doing significantly more, but we're
Yeah.
still using the same tool set.
Yeah.
Uh, and one of the things I really like about the product is, I
Mhm.
mentioned earlier, punching above your weight class. Well, when you bring the right tools,
Yeah.
you have the right tools, you present a lot bigger and a lot better than you would otherwise. And I think
Yeah.
I don't know that enough small businesses appreciate that.
Yeah. What do you think that's allowed you to maintain? One of the things that we've always want to do is follow small businesses on this journey. What do you think? What is that connective tissue that's allowed you to that has allowed QuickBooks to maintain that um,
I
support?
think I think it's ease of use.
Yeah.
You're able to navigate the tool very easily. We've had to deal with different retailers and different tools and different
Yeah.
portals that they require you to interact with. And
Hmm.
I've got to tell you, I don't know if we're just spoiled or if what they're presenting is par for the course. But I keep telling them, you guys got to get something that's a lot easier for retailers and partners to use, like this,
Yeah.
because it's easy to navigate. I can quickly go in, do what I need to do. Reporting. It's
Hmm.
nice being able to do that on the fly, especially if you're in a conversation with someone and they ask a question about a number or results or performance or a retailer, and being able to open a tool and quickly get that for them. It gives them a lot of confidence that your business. The only reason we're able to do that is because we've got tools that allow us to do it. And
Yeah.
and I tell you, people think that we're considerably larger than we actually are because we have the right tool sets.
I love that. No, I agree. I know you're also a Mailchimp user as well.
Yeah,
From the marketing
20,000
side.
plus subscribers, 20,000 plus subscribers.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
it's phenomenal. So of course, Michaela and Deandra deal with the marketing and the PR, and
Yeah.
they do a lot of the social media stuffs, and they do a lot of interacting with the customers. And what's nice about it is we're able to keep that database, maintain that database. And it's also helpful when we have appearances like this, or when we're
Mhm.
on, CNN or a different show. They can use the tool to help promote through pop-ups on the website, or
Mhm.
just to push, letting everyone know, here's what's going on with me and the bees, come check us out. And so
Yeah.
we utilize the tool set quite a bit, and also helps with the shopping cart, right? As customers
Mhm.
go in and
Yeah.
interact, and they might select or deselect, we have the opportunity to follow up. Hey, what did you think? Is there a reason you selected this? Or is there a reason you deselected another one? It just helps us, again, stay in contact with the customer, maintain that customer focus, and pivot and shift and do the things we need to do to make the experience positive for them.
Oh, wonderful. That's wonderful. That's great feedback. That's exactly what we want to hear. So I feel lucky that you're able to use the tools that way.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so Theo, you have a lot of experience, and it would be being that it's Black Business Month.
Mhm.
One of the things that I would love to hear you talk about is just, do you have any advice for people who are starting a business or in the early stages, you've been doing it for a while now and you've done it so successfully. What kind of advice would you give
So
early?
you get a little bit of the dad, a little bit of a
Yeah.
little bit of the this. You get a little bit
Is
of it
this what
all.
you get in
So
the hive? Is that what
this
happens
is
when you're in
this
the
is what you
hive?
get in the
You get a
hype.
little bit of
Look,
everything?
I'm born in South Carolina.
Okay.
Grandparents and a lot of my family either in North South Carolina or New York, so they like those colloquialisms, right? They like those.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
so I got a
it.
ton of them. But I will tell you there are certain things that I preach to the kids, and one of them is we live in a world that values fame over greatness, and I tell them, "Hey, go out and be great, right? You
Yeah.
you've got you've got a character, you've got a spirit about you, and people need to see that and know that because it's beautiful. And um, you know, don't be selfish, but be selfless,
Yeah.
right? That's that customer focus. So as a small business owner, I always say, look, have a purpose and let that purpose be bigger than you. If you're
Mhm.
in business or you're going business because you want to generate a dollar, I hazard a guess you're probably going to fail because you're going to focus on the wrong things.
Mhm.
I say find a problem, find something you're passionate about, and go solve that problem. And if you let that be your north star, let that be your the tip of the spear, then you can and you should bring good business practices, principles, ideas to bear to bring those things forward. So I just tell them go out and find a problem, solve a problem, and just be the best version of you that you can be. Not comparing to someone else, be the best version of you that you can be. So I try to keep it simple, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of what I tell the kids. Don't make simple things difficult.
Yeah.
Don't make simple things difficult. It's too easy to do. Don't try to boil the ocean.
Mhm.
Um, the first step is a step. It's not a giant leap. So
Yeah.
just you know, um, set a goal and move towards your goal. Don't be afraid to take calculated risks, but do the calculations and um, take a chance. A lot of folks, unfortunately, don't take that step. A lot of folks share their dreams and ideas, perhaps with the wrong people. They want to have a group of folks around you, have a hive around you that are going to help you. Yeah, have that hive around you that are at least going to help you flesh out an idea. And it might change over time, but they're going to at least encourage you to pursue it or consider pursuing it.
I love that. Oh, that's great
Yeah.
advice. Yeah. I mean, this
Hey,
is
and
this
and
is gold.
so
I'm like taking notes on my own life. I need to take greater risk.
don't have to take notes. Go get Michaela's book. She
I
she
know. That's
she
what I was
wrote
going
it
to
all
ask you
down.
about.
She
Yeah.
wrote it all. Yeah, she
Yeah.
wrote it
Tell me
all
a little bit
down.
about that. Tell me about her book.
Well, the book was great. It's part memoir, part business book, part how to, and she really just tells the story of how she actually started, but she does it in more detail and kind of how she felt, what she thought at that moment in time, and it takes the reader through those that Mary had a little lamb sort of story.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you did when after you got stung? Well, rather than being afraid, parents encouraged her to, no, we don't shrink back in the face of a challenge. You gotta step into it, right?
Mhm.
So we come on, we're going to learn about bees. She learned about
Yeah.
bees. She got interested. She took advantage of technology. At that time, it was video and online clips, but she was 4. She loved it,
Yeah.
and we just little by little just started building. And it takes the reader through the whole process, putting together a budget, even for a lemonade stand. It's amazing how much you can learn about business even from a small lemonade stand.
Yeah.
Putting together a
Absolutely.
budget, putting together a balance sheet, putting together a cash flow statement. We did all of that with the lemonade stand. I'm really impressed at how quickly she picked it up based on how we taught it to her. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. It's talking to your customers. I mean, there's so many opportunities to learn from that way. So
There are, and I'm glad she just had a chance to share a lot of the experiences behind the scenes of what happened at a Shark Tank, going and
yeah,
meeting, President Obama, going
yeah,
to meet Satya Nadella or Sheryl Sandberg or whomever. There's just a lot of stories in it.
yeah,
Oddly enough, when she wrote the book, I didn't want to. They had me go through and they wanted people to proofread it, and they asked us to proofread it and fact check it. I didn't want to read it. I said I lived it. I don't want to read the book.
yeah.
Found myself after the first chapter like, oh wow, it's
That-
actually pretty good. I'm liking this. It's actually a pretty good read.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got a couple, a few last questions before we get to the
Sure.
Q&A.
All
We're gonna
right.
be more rapid fire though. So,
Yeah. Right.
all right, first one. What is your favorite lemonade?
Favorite lemonade is going to be the mint because that's the one that started it out. But I enjoy black cherry and ginger.
Yes, that's what I wanted to call those out, Theo.
Oh,
Also, if
hey,
you need
look,
a taste test for me,
I keep them close too.
they're so good. They're
They
so
are.
good.
I love them.
Okay, so what is your most popular flavor?
Classic black cherry, prickly pear, run neck and neck.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
run neck and neck.
Okay. Next one. Where did the name Me and the Bees come from?
You know, the little fact, it originally was named Be Sweet. And
Oh.
she changed the name to Me and the Bees because she wanted to bring everybody into the story. So the me in Me and the Bees is everybody that's working hard to help support the bees. So I've got to give it to the young Bish. She has
Oh,
some great ideas.
I love that. I love that. Okay. What do you think the three things that have contributed the most to your success as a small business owner?
Being customer focused,
Hmm.
um, really appreciating, respecting, and honoring everyone's skill sets and allowing them to develop and trusting them
Hmm.
and setting aggressive goals.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. What is something you can't live without?
Ooh, um, man, I can't live without the family. Yeah, we got a real good network, but I can't live without a project. Got to do something, some garden project.
Okay. Okay. If someone gave you $100 today and said, treat yourself, what would you do other than buying me lemonade, like prickly pear and all those things?
I'm going to the gardening center.
Yeah.
Yep, all day long.
Okay. All right. What is your dream for the business?
To be the largest and best lemonade brand globally,
Ooh.
over and above any other.
Okay. And the last one that I have is what do you love most about yourself?
Wow. Being able to celebrate the small things, right? Being able to see and appreciate the small victories and remembering where we came from and enjoying the opportunities that are ahead of us.
Oh, wonderful. That's such a great one. All right, Theo. Well, thank you so much. It's been, such a pleasure chatting with you and getting to learn more about just all the wonderful work that you and Michaela are doing. I am now going to turn it back over to Wiley, who's going to take us through the Q&A.
All right.
Thank you, Shawnee, very much. And what an amazing journey me and the bees has been on. We've got tons of questions, but first of all, Theo, you make me need to step my dad game up. I was slacking with a few folks, and it's like, oh man, I need to step my dad game up real hard.
Hey,
Yeah,
look, I think I rolled the dice and I came up on the winning end when it came to kids. I got three great ones. So yeah, I'm fortunate and blessed for sure.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, I'll start with this. I have an empty bottle here. I have some full bottles too.
We'll
But
take care of you, man.
Black cherry is amazing.
Thank you.
And then the classic, just traditional lemonade. I mean, it's a really close second. So very,
Awesome.
very good lemonade
Awesome.
here.
Great.
Jump to the questions here, and of course, my audio was not working perfectly in the beginning. So I'll just remind folks that we do have a raffle. So if you ask a question and take the survey at the end of the session, we will select 10 winners to try some of this amazing lemonade, and I promise we'll send you guys some black cherry.
Yeah, do it.
All right, so first question. When you were on Shark Tank, what was that experience like?
It was phenomenal, actually. Interestingly enough, we were hesitant to do it because we were so small. I mean, we had just been in a single pizza shop when someone invited us to come and actually audition for the show. So when they actually came, we were really hesitant to do it. We've seen the Sharks fillet folks on the show, and I said, "Oh no, I saw a question pop up about being in dad mode versus being in COO role." I don't know if someone came after my daughter on Shark Tank, I probably slip into dad mode.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Right.
That would make good TV. But no,
Right.
the
Cut the
experience
camera.
was
I need to talk to them. Yeah.
right. The experience was great, actually, and I must say, everyone associated with the show did a phenomenal job, treated us well, and I'll tell you this: the show is genuine and authentic. What you see on screen
Oh,
is
wow.
actually what happens. There are no breaks and cuts and stand here, do this again. It's one shot. You go out and do what you need to do, give your pitch. And when you see people really getting, applauded on the show, they're really getting applauded. And when they get, a less than favorable response, it's probably due to something that they presented or something that they shared on the show. Yeah, it was a great experience. You're actually out there a lot longer than they show on camera, obviously, but it was a really good experience.
Yeah, well, you talk about getting lucky with the kids. I'm sure that was a very proud moment for you. She did a
It,
great
it
job.
was, and we only did it because she wanted to do it.
Mm.
We were hesitant. She said, "No, let's go. I really want to do it." She really wanted to do the show. I said, "Okay, well, if you really want to go out here, we'll do it." That's why we had her do the pitch. If you want to do it, you're going to do all the
Do it.
pitching.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
she wasn't a prop on the show. We wanted her to know her business, pitch her business, because we wanted them to know this isn't us. This is her mission, her vision, her business, and she owns it.
Love it. Love it. Next question that we have for you. You talked a little bit about your pivot during the pandemic, which was awesome to get the inventory in right away. What's the biggest challenge your company is facing today?
It really, we're blessed with growth. We're challenged with growth at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If every month you're growing, if each month is larger than the last month, it's tough to get ahead of it. So for small businesses and for those that are interested in working with or becoming a small business, at some point you're going to be challenged from a capital standpoint, because in order to fuel the growth and maintain the growth, you always need capital. And some have less access to capital than others. You talked about, just communities, and traditionally whether or not we have access to a lot of funding, and traditionally we haven't. And we're finding that we're getting more success now, but we're doing a lot of proving that out, and people have an opportunity to see a level of success. So it's getting a little bit easier, but that continues to be a challenge.
Yeah. Speaking of growth, how was it breaking into big box stores? I know Mr. Wonderful always says retail is a bear. How were you guys able to break through?
Well, it is a barrier, and you have to be strategic with how you go about trying to get into big box stores. And I always use analogies with the kids, and I talking about, look, you can widen the banks of the river, right? You try to get into more doors, into more retailers, or you can develop great relationships with the stores you're in and sell more. So you can either go wide or go deep. And we've chosen, let's go deep. Let's do a really good job at the retailers that we're in. And if you do a good job in the places that you are, you take care of your current customers do a lot to encourage and motivate new customers. All right. So it can be a challenge getting time with them. Michaela, though, I mean, we couldn't have a better spokesperson for the business. So for her, it's easier. You still have to challenge, and you're still challenged with negotiating rates and prices, because they want to treat you like a large, one of their larger partners. And for us, we have to remind them that, here's where we are. We'll work with you if you work with us, and you just have to negotiate well.
Very good. Helen, I do see your question, but I think that kind of answers it. What keeps them up at night is growth and sustainable growth.
Yeah.
The next question, the next question that we have is, how has Michaela surprised you? I don't know if you can answer that in one option, but
she surprises me with, I think, a level of poise and comfort that she has. She's certainly more comfortable at her age, and even earlier than, I was well into my career. And I give the missus a lot of credit. I give the team a lot of credit. I won't take a lot myself, but what we do is we try to create an environment where she felt comfortable just being her. So when she's on interviews like this and she's asked a question, she can answer honestly. I was telling you this, give an honest answer, be comfortable with your responses. And man, she does a great job with it. She's been asked some tough questions in interviews, and I'm really impressed with how thoughtful she is in her response and how gracious she is often in those responses.
Do you feel like the business taught her that, or that she brings that to the business?
No, no, I don't think I think us taking advantage of the business to give her opportunities to express that. I think that's what I don't think the business taught her that. I
Mm.
think hopefully we've taught her that again, and she's bringing that to the business, and she's bringing that to school. She's bringing that wherever she is. Be comfortable with what you bring to the table. I always tell her, know your stock value. You are better than a lot of people will give you credit for. A lot of people will tell you.
Yeah,
So you have to know it, and when you're in a room, you make sure you express it,
yeah,
and she does that well.
very cool. Giselle has a budding business person at home. He's 13 years old, already has a Minecraft server business. How could she encourage her business bug more?
Oh wow. So if she's got an idea, at some point in time, if you want it to be a business and you want it to be profitable, you got to think about what do people want, what do people need, and if it's gaming that you're into, I will tell you content is a big thing these days relative to business. And if you're able to put out and develop content that people appreciate, something that people need, you can monetize. You can monetize that, I think, rather easily. I know my kids, my youngest son does a lot of gaming. He's always out looking at videos and looking at what people are doing from a gaming standpoint. So if I don't know the space that well, but I do know and do have to tell my son, hey, how much more time are you going to be on that game? So I know that it's a big deal. So I would just tell you, go try to understand your customer or potential customers, what they want, what they need, and go create a product for them. Go solve one of their problems. I hope that helps.
It's very helpful. And we've got about 6 minutes left.
Okay.
So the questions on in, folks. The biggest lesson you taught Michaela is to speak her voice, be authentic. Pamela
Hey,
asks, oh, go ahead if you have.
and also don't be afraid of someone's size, right? I will tell you one of the proudest things, one of the moments that made us most proud of her, I told you we had the name change. And the reason we changed the name, she talks about it in the book, was there's another company that had a name similar. And they basically filed suit to have her change the name. And we had the rights, but they were much larger and had more capital. So everybody puts their plane into a nosedive. We're going to hit the ground first.
Right.
I was proud of her for saying, when asked, because it was going to be her decision, do you want to fight it or do you want to just, give it up? And she came back and said, no, I want to fight it. I said, there we go. So let's go fight it. So we fought it. And then after a while, she said, Dad, I remember my mission. My mission is to help save bees. And if we continue this, we won't be able to do the thing that I really want to do, which is help save bees. So why don't we find a better name, so that I can continue to do what I'm doing, help save bees. And that's when she came up with the name Me and the Bees. She said, it's all about customers. It's all about people coming along this journey. And we changed the name to Me and the Bees.
Yeah, very cool. That's very helpful. That answers Pamela's question about the copyright issue on the website. Here's a question I'm sure people are curious about.
Yeah.
Do you have any sugar-free options? I think that answer is no. Do you have any coming?
We don't have any sugar-free, but know that the sugar content that we have now is lower than most other lemonades on the market. And what we did was we were creative in terms of adding sweeteners, because lemonade has a taste. Everyone, if you've made it in your kitchen, you know what lemonade tastes like. So most people identify a certain taste with lemonade, and we wanted to maintain that, but we wanted to give a healthier option. So we identified sweeteners, honey, monk fruit, sugar. It does have sugar from a legacy standpoint. So some combination of those helps to reduce the sugar content, but no, we don't have a no sugar option yet.
Okay. They want it. The people want it. There's a couple of
okay, well, we'll have to work on it.
Okay.
All right.
So Anna asks a question which kind of built on one I had for you as well. How do you balance a teenager and an entrepreneur at the same time? And I'll add to that, how do you separate being her dad, which kind of gives you, as we know as parents, kind of gives you the final say, versus her being the CEO of the business?
Yeah. So I have final say at home.
Yeah.
And home matters. She has a final say on business matters. And that's and everybody had to learn, right, including me, because there can be a tendency to well, no, this is what we're well, no, we have to remember. I have to remember my role as dad is to educate, train, get them to the point that when they leave the home, they're comfortable making decisions and they're comfortable being leaders. And that's what I'm training them to do. So that might mean I have to do some learning in how to step back, especially when it comes to business, and remember that I got to honor and respect the business owner, and she is the business owner. My job also is to make sure I'm coaching. So whether I'm at home or at work, I coach. If I think it's a bad decision, I want to tell her, well, here's what I think. You own the decision and you own the consequences. I own and have a responsibility for making sure that you understand, here is the best advice I can give you for dealing with this particular issue. And once I've done that, I've done my job. You as a business owner have to make the final decision, and we encourage her to make the final decision. And once she's made it, we all get in the boat and everybody's got their oars pulling in the same direction.
Love it. Love it. So thank you everyone for your questions. We really appreciate it. If we won't be able to get to any more, but if you did send the question, remember to do the survey at the end and you will be added to the drawing. I have one last question for you. I recited before that only 10% of small business owners are Black. Are minorities, and of that 10%, only 30% are Black. And then also Michaela's a female business entrepreneur. So what obstacles have you faced about her being a Black woman? And how have you guys navigated that? And what insights might you have for some in our ERG who are looking to start their business?
Hey, and not only that, she was 9 when she started, so she's standing in front of people as a preteen.
That's right.
So she faced a lot of challenges, but again, I will tell you that the biggest challenge was, I think, can be confidence. And one of the main things that we wanted to do was to let her know she had some muscle behind her, behind mom and dad. Like, you've got some muscle behind you, but you don't need it, because you are more than capable. And the challenge is making sure that you don't shrink back in face of that challenge. That doesn't mean you have to be hyper aggressive. It's not what we're saying at all. But what we are saying is you have to know you and know what you bring to the table, and don't allow others to no one can do to you what you won't allow them to do. So don't allow them to minimize you or your value.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for your time today, Theo. This was very insightful. We really appreciate you making some time and giving us your valuable insights. Thank you, Shawnee, for hosting. Thank you to Brittany and Raven and the ERGs for having this opportunity. Remember, everyone, we will have our next pop-up during Hispanic Heritage Month, and we look forward to having you all there. Have a great start to the year, everyone here at Intuit, and thank you for joining. Have a great day, everyone.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Theo. Take care now.
All
Good
right,
luck with college.
Thanks. I'll share.
Yes.